The James Show Podcast.
You know, I almost did it today. I kind of ran out of time. I think tomorrow I'm going to go to American Eagle. I think I need some new jeans. That's what I need. It's just a coincidence. I haven't been influenced by the good genes of Sydney Sweeney, J or G. But I think, I don't know. You know, if this keeps going on, because people aren't dropping this, wearing an American Eagle shirt is going to be a political statement. Isn't that crazy? Because just like so many stores in the mall, there's like a whole line of shirts where it just has the name of the store on the front of it, which I have a hard time understanding. Why would you want to get a Gap shirt? It just says Gap on the front. What am I, a billboard for Gap? I'm not a fan of your store. I'm wearing a Dallas Cowboys shirt. I'm a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, but I have no allegiance to some random retail outlet in the mall, Abercrombie and Fitch. And so American Eagle does the same thing. They have shirts that just say American Eagle. You got to worry about getting your car keyed if you're wearing an American Eagle shirt. You got to worry about being accosted in the street or being called a Nazi now if you're wearing an American Eagle shirt. I can't wait. Makes me want to wear one, kind of. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. But the Sydney Sweeney fallout is, it keeps evolving here. Because American Eagle, they just got to be loving this. And I enjoy that because the people who are making a stink about it want American Eagle to be punished. They want them to learn their lesson. How dare you do this dog whistle Nazi propaganda right in front of our faces? Not on my watch. What do you think is going to happen to American Eagle sales this quarter? Think they're going to go up or down? What do you think is going to happen to American Eagle stock? Do you think this is good or bad for the company? This is totally good. And those were rhetorical questions. But if you're wondering where I stand on that, no. This is fantastic for American Eagle. This is what you could hope for. In fact, maybe we should put dog whistles in our promos too, right? So in the latest iteration of what's going on, there's been a call for a boycott of American Eagle stores. Really? Boycott American Eagles. Did you guys have a solution to that? What are you going to do next? Are you going to glue your hand to the walkway in the mall in front of American Eagle? Are you going to throw tomato soup on the windows? Are you going to chuck a brick through the window and loot it? But these people, their ideology is ruining their life. Their ideology is making them a miserable person. Most people saw the Sydney Sweeney ad and didn't feel anything. A lot of us saw the Sydney Sweeney ad and we felt something, but it wasn't like racist rage. It was like, whoa, look at Sydney Sweeney. But if you look at that ad and you get all upset and you're literally shaking and you think that this is just another instance of the Nazis who are making up half of the country just running wild around you, that must be a real hellscape that you live in. That's a real scary worldview that you've developed for yourself. But canceling American Eagle is the new cry. If you're not seeing this on your social media, this is all over mine. We got to cancel them.
Don't forget to boycott American Eagle for their racist online, talking about blue jeans and white people. Boycott American Eagle. Boycott the out of them. Boycott American Eagle. Do not buy them. And cancel this person, Miss Sweeney. Cancel for her being racist, for doing Nazi propaganda. Cancel American Eagle.
You know, she didn't even talk about being white. She talked about having blonde hair and blue eyes in one of them. The camera got focused in on her butt in some of them, got focused in on her boobs in other ones. None of that is white specific. I'm a white fella. I don't have blonde hair nor blue eyes. I have brown hair, brown eyes. There wasn't anything inherently white about. White aren't the only people who can have blue eyes and green eyes. So they just insist on seeing racism when it's clearly not there. Meanwhile, in the Cincinnati attack, the more we learn about that, the more we learn that there may be some racial animus that was built in the motivation of the mob that was beating down some middle-aged or senior citizen white people whose only crime was trying to walk back to their car from a jazz festival. And for some people, they're trying to make the excuse, there's a white guy who slapped a black guy first, or you don't know what they said. What is the appropriate predicate for some woman who looks like she's in her 50s getting sucker punched by a grown man, knocked out unconscious in the middle of the street, blood running out the side of her mouth, just splayed out in a sundress? Y'all don't, there's no racism to be had there, no inference of racism, because this Jazz Fest is the second largest jazz festival that happens of its nature in America. I believe the closest comparison we have around here is in New Orleans every year. They have what's called Essence Fest. And just like the Cincinnati Jazz Fest, in both of these towns, there's complaints from the local people about how some bars and some entertainment venues will close that weekend because the crowd that they get during these Jazz Fest or Essence Fest isn't worth it. They don't make a lot of money. They send a lot of money back. They don't tip well. There's fights. There's property destruction. There's theft. There's all kinds of shady stuff going on. And it's been worth it for them to miss all that business rather than put up with it for the minor profits if they even make a profit. And that's been a complaint that I've seen in the Cincinnati media that people would keep pulling up that I've seen made in New Orleans for years and years. So there's definitely a racial angle to this within the purview of people from Cincinnati. The national people don't know about it that well, but they can look at the Sydney Sweeney ad, see dog whistle Nazis in it. Look at the Cincinnati situation. No concern about race there. You people are such lying, dishonest hacks. Protesters amuse me. I want you to hear a protest from some guys who are upset that a Kroger is closing in a terrible neighborhood.
$9 billion increase over the previous year, and they can't keep a few stores open in the neighborhoods that need them the most. You know, if this were a real system that served the actual interests of people, there would be an exit tax on Kroger for pulling out like this. But instead, they can give 18 days notice and say, yeah, we're going to be out of here. Everybody that works here out of a job, everybody that depends on the grocery store for their food, for their medication, for their supplies. It's too bad. Food is a right. It is not a privilege. Everybody needs it.
Oh, man, I love this so much. You're protesting a store closing and leaving your neighborhood. That's fantastic. Oh, that's so fantastic. Because economics answers this. And the market is right. They're not right. The market's right. They just don't like the answer. They don't like the truth. Kroger is not closing their store to spite the neighborhood you live in, sir. And in fact, if they did have some sort of antipathy toward your neighborhood, they wouldn't have built there in the first place. I love this idea that corporations are making decisions that would cost them millions of dollars of profit, if not billions of dollars of profit, with the supposed motive they just want to spite some minority group, whether it's black people or Hispanics or trans or gay or whatever. That's not how businesses work. That's not how giant corporations, definitely not how they work. No, the one and only reason they're closing that is because it's not profitable. Now, why is it not profitable? That could be a little more subjective. That could be a little more up to interpretation. That's not so cut and dry. But if you want to ask, why is the Kroger on the bad side of town closing, but the Kroger on the good side of town staying open? Well, you know it's not an inherent problem with all Krogers. You know Kroger is doing fine. The problem is within that neighborhood. Did that neighborhood shrink in size? Because if it was depopulated massively, then that would explain it without any sort of, stain being visited upon the community itself. But for the people in the community who are griping when a store leaves your community, guess what? You're the problem. You know why Kroger's leaving your community? You are. So one interesting part of the James Parker childhood experiences for a while there, I worked at a grocery store stacking groceries. I did a little bit of stocking, a little bit of cleaning, mostly sacking groceries. I got to see what everyone buys for dinner. I got to see what everyone buys when they go to the grocery store. And I'm an extrovert, meaning not only am I loud in public situations, but I'm just super curious about all the people around me. I want to know all your stories. I want to know all your backgrounds. I want to know what's in your refrigerator. I want to know what kind of car you drive. I want to know what kind of music you listen to. I find people fascinating. And that was so fun. Getting to see people, because, when you're at the front of the store, you get to see them when they walk in and you can make a judgment. And you're like, okay, well, this guy wearing flip-flops and a bathing suit and a tank top, I bet you he's going to go get some stuff to go to a pool party. He might get like a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper, or we didn't sell beer at the store back then. It was illegal in Bug Tussle. But you would get to see him a few minutes later when they were checking out and see if your predictions were correct. I got really good at the predictions game. If you worked at a grocery store bagging groceries for 1 week, you would be amazing at the prediction game. And you get to see not only who buys what, but how they buy it. Old ladies write checks. Younger people were using credit cards. Some people were using food stamps. Some people were using cash. But you got to see who used what they were wearing, what they bought, how they talked to the cashier and the bagger guy, how they interacted with their children. It was an amazing study in human behavior, which is what economics really is. People think economics is a bunch of calculators and spreadsheets, and that's what you're studying. You're studying the behavior of human beings, the incentive structures around them, and how they react to it. And there is no other reason for a grocery store to close other than the people in that community decide whether or not it's going to make money. They decide how much money they're going to spend there, what they're going to spend it on. They decide if when they go there, are they going to make a mess? Are they going to break stuff? Is there going to be a lot of repairs? Is there going to be a lot of fixes? When they hire people from the community to work there, are they going to be good employees that stay around for a long time? Is there going to be a lot of turnover? Is there going to be poor customer service? Is there going to be poor work ethic? Is there going to be employees that are pilfering and stealing from under their noses? So the number one predictor of whether or not a store is profitable is the community. And the number one reason why a store would close is whether or not it's profitable. Therefore, the community. If Kroger is leaving your neighborhood, if any grocery store is leaving your neighborhood, there's something wrong with you. You did something wrong. Unless it's a store that's just going bankrupt all across the country, and that's why. But Kroger's not. And people don't like that answer, especially if you're a narcissist. You're incapable of self-criticism. But you remember that. And just remember this. I love all the concern for, what about the community? They depend on this. Foods are right. And they what? Have to have it within walking distance or within a 2-mile radius? You know, there's other grocery stores that are in that town. You might have to go a little bit further to go get one, but you still have access to food. You don't have, it's not a human right to have access to convenient food within a certain walking distance. And I know that's a lame argument because I grew up out in the middle of nowhere where we were 20 miles away from the nearest gallon of milk. It's a 40-minute round trip to go to the nearest grocery store. Anyone ever complain about the food deserts for rural people? Anyone ever say, well, the reason why they're failing is they're not walking distance from an organic bell pepper? No, it's not. This is just another deflection by a failing community to not look inwardly and try and fix their problems and instead blame some evil corporation acting all corporation-y. I'm tired of it. Companies getting slandered for no good reason. Isn't it like in other arguments you admit that they'll do anything for profit? Well, why isn't that the motive here? You think really racial antipathy is more important to them than profits? Come on now. Grow up. I'm really not amused by this as much as this makes me sad. I feel pity for people like this. Not condemnation, not even derision, just pity. You live in the greatest country the world has ever known. You live in a country that gives the poorest people a standard of living that only kings could dream of just 200 years ago. You live in a country that has reached as close as any other country has the goals of the Enlightenment philosophers of individual liberties and individual freedom and individual rights. No one does it like us. People will say, well, yeah, you have freedom all over the place. No, you can go to jail for a social media post right now in Germany, France, Canada, UK. You can't in America. We have all kinds of rights and freedoms that other countries don't enjoy. We have all kinds of prosperity and safety that they don't enjoy. And if you can't be happy here, maybe something's wrong with you. So it's with that context, I want you to observe this. Now, what it looks like, it really looks like a boy that's like 21, but you'll hear from the voice, it's a girl who cut her hair short and wears boy clothes and refuses makeup. So, and that'll be important context when we break this down. But listen to this. This person wants to leave America.
I really want to leave America and I don't know where to go or how. If anybody knows anything that fits these 4 categories that I'm looking for, please let me know. It would be so helpful.
All right. So they're going to list 4 categories, which means these are 4 complaints about America also that she's looking for in her next country.
First, public transit, very important. Obviously, I can drive, but I don't want to have a car to live.
Okay, so public transit. She's sitting in a car when she's doing this, by the way. But public transit. All right, so if you want to have not just public transit, but reliable, safe, clean public transit, You're down to just the first world countries already. You've already no third world country, and most second world countries, I don't think any of them actually would fit the bill. Maybe a Russia or maybe a China at this point. But all you're left with here now is pretty much Western Europe and then Japan and South Korea. So, man, your first criteria wiped out most of the world. What are your other three criteria?
Which is what you need to do in America, and it's really annoying. I recently went to Japan. That was awesome. That would be amazing if I don't need a car to live my life. 2 social safety nets are great. I'm scared to live in America. I don't know how people do it. Like, without free healthcare or socialized healthcare, it's crazy to me that...
Yeah, so it's just something we did through all of American history up until LBJ. But yeah, real scary stuff. All right, so she's still stuck with the same few countries: Japan, South Korea, and Western Europe. That's all we're down to after her first 2 criteria.
People live here at all. So something like that would be lovely. Number 3, I'm queer. I want to go somewhere where I'm safe. I know Japan, gay marriage isn't legal. Same thing in like China. But I do think living in those places would still be fine. So I'm willing to compromise on gay marriage. But
Okay, so now we're really just stuck with the Western European, really Scandinavian countries. Okay, you're running out of places here that meet your criteria.
Definitely need to be safe. 4, diversity, if possible, would be great. I'm incredibly lucky that I've grown up in Southern California. I know I'm not going to find anything like that somewhere else, which is unfortunate because, like, that's probably the best part of America, and that's what they're trying to get rid of right now. But I just don't think I could live anywhere where there's, like, one group of people. That'd be crazy. I think I would go crazy. So if anybody knows anywhere to go or how, it'd be so much appreciated. Thank you so much.
All right, so this is fantastic. Let's. What country is she describing, y'all? Wokistan? No, there's no such thing as a country that fits that bill, because the few countries that do have, reliable, awesome public transportation, good public safety nets, the absolute big one was diversity, but gay rights. You're only talking about a handful of mostly Scandinavian countries. You're only talking about some white countries. And I when you say diversity, she means non-white. But even if you went to Japan's like 99% Japanese. So if you're really looking for diversity, there's not a country that matches your bill. I mean, America is kind of close. I mean, if you really need public transportation, you can move to a big city and have that. If you really need health care and you're poor, you get Medicaid. So we do have the social safety net. We do have the diversity. We are quite tolerant of the LGBTQ crowds. But let's break this down a little bit more, because what I thought she just described perfectly was prison. Right? They're gay friendly in prison. You don't have to worry about driving a car ever again. You have guaranteed health care. That's not going to be a problem either. You're good to go, bro. Why don't you just go to prison? But look at what's driving her worldview. Look at what's driving just the impetus to make this video. This little woman is scared of living in America. She said she wants to go somewhere she feels safe. So she hates her country. She's scared of her country. She doesn't seem to be a big fan of her gender, judging by her appearance and LGBTQ status. She obviously hates her race because she doesn't want to be around just all white people. God, that'd be terrible. Sounds like she hates herself. You hate Americans. You hate your gender. You hate your race. But also the other half of that, she doesn't just hate herself. She's scared. She's scared of her neighbors. She doesn't feel safe in America. She wants to go somewhere she feels safe. And America doesn't do that. So she's scared of her fellow citizens, scared of her neighbors. She's scared of the thought of having to provide and pay for her own health care. She's scared of driving. This woman lives in fear. So there's a terrible combination of self-hatred thrown in with the fear that she expressed, and then fear that we could probably imply that or assume that she lives under. You know, she's probably scared of Christians and the evil Christian right. She's probably scared of guns. She's probably scared of men. You know, one of those people that, would you rather run into a man or a bear? I bet she chooses the bear. Her worldview is entirely driven, motivated, inspired, drug along the path by self-hatred and fear. Oh my God, that's sad. And it warms my heart when the listeners out there in WBAP land see a story and they think of me and they send it to me. And I'm easy to find. If you want to send me an email, james@wbap.com. Most people find me on Facebook and send me a message on Facebook Messenger. Follow both. But the story I got last night just made me feel so good. So good. A DART train caught fire. That's all it took. And I wasn't having a bad day, but things were going kind of tough. Had a lot of work, and I had hours and hours, and I'd already been done with the show. And I'm like, I'm going to be stuck at this desk for like 3 more hours. I got so much stuff to do. And then a couple of people sent me a link to the story. Some people were sending me the live videos. One was on Instagram, one was on X. And I got to see something that was so beautiful. It's like when your child's born and they wipe it off and they hand it to you in a towel, and you lift the towel and you see your baby's face for the first time. And it looks just like every other baby. It's this little crumpled, wrinkly face that's kind of purple and weird looking, but it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. You know, it's like when it's early morning and you can see the sun coming up over the horizon. It's a little cold outside, and one of the horses in the back pasture just had a baby, but mom cleans it up, and you see him get up on his little weak little pony legs. And for the first time, he stands and he kind of hops a little bit and he figures out how to walk. And watching a baby take its first steps, it's just beautiful. It's the same feeling I had when I went to my Instagram feed. There's one of those stupid, ugly yellow train cars, and there's just flames coming out of the top. And I just thought, you know what? I can just really just sit back and appreciate this. Look at it burning. Look at it. All the people were evacuated. No one's hurt. No one died. I'm not celebrating anyone's death over here. But it made me so happy. It's like, wow, if we could just do this to all the trains, how much would be fixed in Dallas-Fort Worth? It'd be beautiful. So that absolutely made my day. So thank you very much, everyone, for sharing. And there's not a great story to that. There was the train that was coming down 75. It goes underground for the City Place, you know, that big condo setup they got going on there. It's like this one subway station in the whole town. And then as it continues going downtown, where it emerges, for some reason right there, the connection between the electrical wire overhead caught fire. They evacuated everyone from the train. No one's hurt, but it's still, y'all, if you ever see a DART train on fire, you better send me a message. You better pass that along to me. If it's in your eyesight, take out your phone. Make a video for me, because that makes my day. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen in 2025. It's a DART train burning slowly in front of my face. It's things I dream about. I've dreamed about this for years. And it gives me hope that one day all DART trains can be burned to the ground. Someone else sent me something funny that I got to pass along with you. A fantastic comedian that I was not aware of before. His name's Giannis Pappas. And yes, I did edit this if you're familiar with his work. He was making a good point, and that's where good comedy comes from. It actually has some sort of basis in the real world about the difference in the word usage between Democrats and Republicans.
It's a Republican word, property. Liberals got different words like rent. That's a big one, rent. Landlord. They measure things in square footage. Republicans got acres and property. And they want everything off, away. Away. That's the difference between liberals and conservatives. Conservatives want things away, less, get it away. Government, get away. Get away from my house. Away, away. Migrants, put them in a catapult, shoot them right over the wall. Get them away from my property. Stay away from my property. And liberals want everything in. More government. We should all work for the government. My house should be a government building. We should all be government employees. It's never enough government. Migrants, come live in my house. I'll hide you in the basement. And give you papers, whatever you need. Criminal robbing me on the street. But how has society failed you? That's the bigger question. Republicans are like, don't tread on me. Liberals are like, tread on me. Tread all over my face. I want you to tread in my mouth, tread on my just tread all over me. Just tread it. Keep treading on me.
All right, that's pretty close to the truth. 3 months ago, when the GDP number was released for the first quarter, and it came in slightly negative, like 0.3% negative. The GDP, the quarterly GDP was so important. It was the top headline in the ABC World News tonight. Here's David Muir 3 months ago.
Also tonight, for the first time in 3 years, the American economy shrinking. The new numbers in tonight. Before President Trump took office, 33 straight months of economic growth. But tonight, President Trump is blaming Joe Biden, not his own tariffs, and the uncertainty now in the markets of the U.S. economy. And what President Trump said today about store shelves and toys. How many dolls might be available for children?
So it was the most important story. They led the newscast with it. It was their top story. They spent the most time on it. But when it came back, there's plenty of negative Trump angle to that too. Came back, and yesterday the number came out positive, averting all the recession. Here's his report yesterday on the quarterly GDP. No, he didn't lead with it. It wasn't in his A block. It wasn't mentioned at all. And it's not like they ran out of time. They spent a minute and a half talking about the viral video of a proposal in Greece that went all wrong when someone walked in front of the camera. He had time to report on that, but not the GDP number. It was really important when it was bad news. Didn't even make the cut when it was good news. Somebody is a hack. All right, you can check out all the hottest new movies like Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, F1 the movie, and more at Look Dine-In Cinemas. You like getting some food while you're watching the movies? That's sweet. They've got new ones in Bedford and Arlington. Check it out there. Text the word LOOK, L-O-O-K, to 800-288-9227. Maybe you can win a pair of tickets from us. Text LOOK to 800-288-9227. All right, stick around. Coming up next, the great one, Mark Levin. If you want to see hear my interview with Mark Levin, find it on the James Show podcast. It was from yesterday's show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.
The James Show podcast.